From the secret keeper of the pyramids to mysterious pharaohs who vanished without a trace. Here are 10 shocking truths about ancient Egypt you had no idea about. Number 10. Secret Keeper. This is Tutankhamun, King Tut. He's one of the most famous faces of ancient Egypt, even though he only ruled for about 10 years before his death in 1323 BC at the age of 19. He was the boy king who became famous because his tomb was discovered in 1922 by British archaeologist Howard Carter. It was the first discovery of its kind in over 2,000 years, making headlines around the world and giving us a new window into life during the New Kingdom period of ancient Egypt. But there's more to Tutankhamun's story than meets the eye. For instance, he was born with a clubfoot, which makes it unlikely that he would have ever been able to rule over Egypt, and his skull was misshapen, indicating that he may have suffered from something like hydrocephalus, a condition where excess fluid builds up in the brain, causing it to swell. In spite of these physical challenges, he took the throne when he was just 9 years old and ruled until his death at 19. But who exactly was Tutankhamun, and how did he end up ruling over Egypt? The answer lies in the secrets of his lineage. See, back in ancient Egypt, there were some pretty strict rules about who could be pharaoh. Women weren't allowed to rule, so if the current pharaoh didn't have any sons, the throne would go to their next of kin, like a brother or a sister. But if they didn't have any living relatives, then the high priests of Egypt would step in and choose the next pharaoh. They were basically like the royal electors of ancient Egypt. But this wasn't always a smooth process. Sometimes there were power struggles and rivalries between different factions trying to get their candidate on the throne. And that's what happened when Tutankhamun's father, Akhenaten, died. He left behind no heir, so the throne was up for grabs. Enter Smenkhare, an advisor to Akhenaten and the head of the royal treasury. He had a son named Smenkhare II, who was married to Tutankhamun's mother, Ankhesenamun. So you can see where this is going. Smenkhare wanted his son to be pharaoh, but there was one small problem. Tutankhamun was technically the next in line. So what did Smenkhare do? He kidnapped Tutankhamun and his mother and locked them up in a temple, hoping that they would die and then his son would take the throne. But luckily for Tutankhamun, he was rescued by one of Akhenaten's advisors named Maya. Maya took him back to the palace and proclaimed him pharaoh. But that didn't stop Smenkhare from trying to take the throne for himself. He pretended to be loyal to Tutankhamun while secretly plotting to overthrow him. But once again, Tutankhamun was saved, this time by his grandmother, Queen T. She recognized Smenkhare's treachery and banished him from the kingdom. Finally, Tutankhamun was able to rule as pharaoh without any rivals or enemies. But let's not forget the poor guy still had to deal with the physical challenges of his clubfoot and misshapen skull. Despite all these obstacles, he managed to leave a legacy that has lasted thousands of years. Now that's what I call resilience. Number 9, dangerous journey. Ancient Egyptian society was complex and highly stratified. They believed that the pharaoh was a god on earth, and the people were divided into different social classes based on their occupation, wealth, and status. Slaves were at the bottom of the social hierarchy and were considered property rather than human beings. Pharaohs believed that they were divine rulers who had the right to demand absolute obedience and loyalty from their subjects. They were seen as intermediaries between the gods and the people and were responsible for maintaining order and justice in the kingdom. High-ranking officials were responsible for managing the affairs of the state in the pharaoh's absence. These officials included viziers, who were the chief ministers, and nobles, who oversaw various aspects of government and the economy. Priests played an essential role in religious rituals and ceremonies and were highly respected members of society. They were responsible for maintaining temples and tombs and were often well educated and skilled in mathematics and astronomy. Scribes were responsible for record-keeping and writing and were highly valued for their literacy skills. They worked in government offices, temples, and private households, and were generally higher on the social rungs than other occupations. Merchants and artisans were responsible for trade and craftsmanship respectively, and were important contributors to the economy. Farmers were the backbone of the agricultural economy and were responsible for growing crops and raising livestock. They made up the majority of the population and were typically lower on the social rungs than other occupations. Slaves were considered property and were forced to work without pay. They were often prisoners of war or people who had been convicted of crimes and sentenced to servitude. Unfortunately, slavery was widespread in ancient Egypt, and many people lived in conditions of servitude. But wait, there's more. Life in ancient Egypt was challenging for everyone, not just slaves. Natural disasters, disease and war were constant threats, and the harsh environment of the Nile Delta required constant effort to maintain. The flooding schedule was unpredictable and could cause widespread destruction, and the scorching heat and limited freshwater resources made life uncomfortable. Disease was widespread, and medical treatments were often ineffective or even harmful. War with neighboring kingdoms was common, and military service was obligatory for men. Overall, life in ancient Egypt was a struggle for survival, and prosperity was rare for most people. Number 8. Unbelievable discoveries. Archaeologists have uncovered a treasure trove of artifacts in the Abydos region of Egypt, including a collection of 52 ostraca dating back to the Greco-Roman era. These small pieces of pottery were used for writing and contain a variety of personal and official documents. Among the most interesting finds are a receipt for a shipment of perfume and a list of laborers working on a construction project. These artifacts provide valuable insights into the daily life and economy of ancient Egypt during the late period of its history. It's like getting a glimpse into the past through the mundane details of everyday life. But wait, there's more. Archaeologists have also unearthed the remains of a Roman fort in the same area, providing evidence of the Roman army's presence in Egypt during the Greco-Roman period. The fort is located near the town of Abydos and dates back to the 1st century AD. It was built during the reign of Emperor Augustus and was likely used to protect the area from invaders. The discovery of the fort and ostraca adds to our understanding of the diverse cultures that once thrived in Egypt. It's amazing to think about the rich history of this region and the many empires that have come and gone. Who knows what other treasures await us in the sands of time? 7. Secret tomb. The discovery of a secret tomb in the Valley of the Kings has sent shockwaves through the world of archaeology. Made for an unknown individual named Tutu, the tomb was found using non-traditional methods, moving away from the usual reliance on radar and other scanning technologies. Instead, archaeologists followed a tunnel for 70 meters using a camera attached to a rope until they reached the burial chamber filled with mummies. While the tomb itself is remarkable, the mummies discovered inside are truly fascinating. One of the mummies is wrapped in gold leaf and decorated with vibrant colors, indicating that the deceased was likely a wealthy individual. Another mummy is covered in protective amulets, meant to ward off evil spirits and ensure the deceased safe passage into the afterlife. The discovery of the secret tomb provides an exciting new chapter in the study of ancient Egypt, and the mummies discovered inside offer a fascinating glimpse into the beliefs and customs of the time. Who was Tutu, and why was he buried with such extravagance? What other secrets lie hidden in the Valley of the Kings? Only time will tell. Number 6. Royal Mystery. The 12th dynasty of Egypt is shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Although we know that Amenemhat III was the last pharaoh of this line, there is much debate surrounding his identity and origins. Some believe that he was the son of Senusret III, while others argue that he was the child of a female pharaoh named Sobekneferu. However, Evidence suggests that Sobekneferu died without an heir, leaving the throne to Amenemhat III. One of the most compelling theories suggests that Amenemhat III was actually the daughter of Senusret III, and that she ruled as a male pharaoh, a practice that was not unheard of in ancient Egypt. Unfortunately, her name was erased from most records after the 12th dynasty fell, leaving historians with few clues to work with. The true parentage of Amenemhat III and the fate of the 12th dynasty remain a source of speculation and research, and perhaps one day we will uncover the truth behind this royal mystery. Number 5. Lost City. Archaeologists have recently discovered the ruins of a massive city near Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza, shedding new light on life in ancient Egypt. The city, which dates back to the 4th dynasty, was remarkably large, covering an area of 160 acres, and boasting straight and wide streets lined with public buildings and residential areas. Surprisingly, the city's layout resembled that of modern urban planning, with dedicated areas for administrative functions, crafts, and housing. What's even more intriguing is that the city appears to have been home to workers and their families rather than just a pharaoh's court or a military base. The discovery of this lost city provides invaluable insight into the lives of ordinary Egyptians during the Old Kingdom period. As researchers continue to unearth artifacts and other evidence, we can expect to learn even more about this fascinating civilization. Number 4. Hidden identity. You might not know this, but ancient Egyptian women had a bit of a wild side. You see, they loved to cover up their faces with makeup, not just for a night out on the town, but as part of a religious ritual. They believed that by painting their eyes with kohl, a black, powdery substance made from ground galena, malachite, or other minerals, they were protecting themselves from the evil eye. But that's not all. A new study suggests that they also used cosmetics to hide their identities. Researchers analyzed portraits of Egyptian women and found that those who wore makeup were significantly more likely to have their eyes covered, suggesting that they wanted to conceal their features. Why would they do that? Well, it could be because they were part of a secret society, or maybe they were just really into cosplay. Just kidding. But researchers believe there's another explanation. Ancient Egypt was a patriarchal society, meaning that men held most of the power and women were expected to be submissive. By covering up their faces, women could potentially avoid unwanted attention from men. It's a clever way to navigate a tricky situation, but it makes us wonder, how common was this practice? And what other secrets did ancient Egyptian women hold? Number 3. Unintentional mummy. Have you ever heard of RHO gene therapy? Probably not, but it turns out that this experimental treatment might have been used 4,000 years ago in ancient Egypt. Researchers recently discovered that the mummies of 2 Egyptian priests contained high levels of mercury, an element that is commonly used in modern gene therapies to target and destroy cancer cells. While it's unclear whether the priests were intentionally injected with mercury or whether it was used as part of a religious ritual, the discovery has raised eyebrows among scientists. Could it be possible that ancient Egyptians had advanced knowledge of medical treatments? And if so, what other secrets did they hold? The use of mercury in ancient Egypt has been documented before, as it was commonly used in cosmetics and as a treatment for various ailments. However, the high levels of mercury found in the priests' remains suggest that they were deliberately targeted with the element. Further research is needed to determine the true extent of ancient Egyptian medical knowledge. But the discovery of mercury in these mummies certainly raises some interesting questions. Number 2. Mysterious disappearance. The disappearance of Cleopatra is one of the most enduring mysteries of the ancient world. The last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt, Cleopatra was renowned for her intelligence, charisma, and political acumen. However, little is known about her early life, as most historical records from her childhood are incomplete or unreliable. According to one account, she was born in Alexandria in 69 BC and received a traditional Egyptian education, learning the language, customs, and history of her adopted homeland. Another version claims that she was raised in a Greek-speaking household and had little knowledge of Egyptian culture. Despite the uncertainty surrounding her early years, Cleopatra's accomplishments as a ruler are well documented. She forged strategic alliances with Rome and formed relationships with powerful leaders such as Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. However, her efforts to maintain Egypt's independence ultimately failed, and the country was absorbed into the Roman Empire. Cleopatra's final years are shrouded in mystery as well. According to legend, she died in 30 BC by allowing an asp, a venomous snake, to bite her as she prepared to meet her demise. Her body was interred alongside her lover, Mark Antony, in a tomb that has never been discovered. While Cleopatra's story has captured the imaginations of historians and the public alike, many questions remain unanswered. What was her ethnicity? Where did she receive her education? And what truly led to her downfall? Perhaps one day these mysteries will be solved and we will gain a deeper understanding of this enigmatic ruler. Number 1. Forgotten Pharaoh. Ancient Egypt is a land of mystery and intrigue, and one of its most perplexing puzzles is the forgotten pharaoh. We don't know his name, we don't know his face, and we don't know much about his reign. All we know is that he ruled for 40 years and that he built a pyramid that was once taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza. But how did he achieve all of this without leaving a trace in the historical records? The answer, dear viewers, lies in the latest archaeological discoveries in Egypt. Researchers have uncovered a series of clay fragments that together form a single inscription. And guess what? It contains the name of the forgotten pharaoh and sheds light on his mysterious reign. According to the inscription, the pharaoh's name was Sesostris, and he was the founder of a new dynasty. But that's not all. He was also the builder of a grand complex that rivaled the pyramids of Giza. The discovery of Sesostris' name and his connection to the pyramids is a major breakthrough in our understanding of ancient Egyptian history. It raises new questions about his rise to power and his legacy. Was he a forgotten pharaoh, or was his name and accomplishments intentionally erased from history? Only time and further research will tell. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for more videos like these.